Are you guys ready for another episode of Inside IOST? We've got a ton of stuff to cover this week. We've got NeoWorld. It's this crazy 3D Unity-based digital realm where you can build buildings and start businesses and do all kinds of crazy stuff, partnered with IOST, of course. Then we've got this OnBlock Oasis finally launches their first project. We're going to take a look at how you can sign up with just a cell phone number. Then we're taking a look at the Survey threshold. They raised it from 2.1 million all the way up to 8 million. What's that all about? And where are our BISS rewards? Come on, BISS, let's get our rewards in. All that and more is coming at you right now on Inside IOST. All right, Insiders, it is that time of week once more. You are back on Inside IOST. We are the first and the best source for all of your IOST information, news, happenings in the ecosystem. This is Inside IOST. I'm joined today by Josh. Josh, how's it going?
Good to be back on the show, Ev. Let's get it started.
All right. Lots of IOST information coming at you this week. We're excited to dive into it. Again, before we get started, this show is sponsored by Liobe Inside IOST Node. We're thankful for everybody who's been out there, voted for us. We're up to, what are we at now? About
13.5 million votes.
That's huge.
Thank you, voters. It is huge. Not easy to get there. That's a lot of votes.
That is a ton of votes. There actually has been some slight changes to how survey nodes are going to get voted, and we're going to dive into that just a little bit later. But let's talk about the big news first, and that is the Oasis launch of OnBlock.
Very cool.
And we both had the chance to sign up for this through our mobile phone numbers. This is a new thing. I've not personally ever seen the ability to sign up for an account for crypto with just a phone number. So I think this is really cool, really innovative. What were your thoughts on it, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, for all these games that we've played on the web, you've had to put the iWallet extension in there and then move IOST over into that iWallet extension. And that's not hard to do, but we want to make it as easy as possible for people to get into the ecosystem and play these games and use these online services. So OnBlock came up with this really cool idea of doing it all through their website. You go right onto their website, and you put your phone number in, sends you a code, you plug the code in, you have a username and a password, like any other website. And then what it does is it keeps its bar at the very top of the page. And you can deposit your IOST into a wallet right on the web page there. So you don't need a separate extension in the browser. You just deposit money in through that wallet, and then you can click on any of the games through their webpage, like Endless Game, for instance, which we've played on the show before. So you go out to Endless Game, and you're managing your IOST through OnBlock. So the OnBlock bar stays right there at the very top of the page, and you could play Endless Game and hopefully a lot of other games and use a lot of other applications in the future. So it's doing a good job of making it easier to bring people into the ecosystem by sort of eliminating some of these other things that you have to do. Now, you still have to purchase IOST and move it over into the wallet. But you don't have to worry about downloading the iWallet extension, figuring that all out, creating a wallet yourself, things that someone who's more technical might be willing to walk through, but just an average user might not want to do. So I think it's a great solution. I'm hoping to see them add more games and more applications to it.
Yeah, and just a few notes, I guess, to follow up what you said there. Whenever you do click on deposit with OnBlock, they do have an Ethereum, an EOS, and Tron logos there. And if you scroll over it, it says coming soon. So I'll be interested to see how they integrate these other cryptos. Obviously, IOST being the best, head and shoulders above the rest.
Of course.
We're the first on OnBlock, but I have no problem with seeing these other, DApp-friendly protocols be on here as well. It's just going to bring more dApps into the fold and make it easier. And it would be really cool to see some kind of, cross-play, if that's going to be something that you can do eventually, where whether you're depositing, ETH or EOS or Tron or IOST, you can play all of the dApps. As Josh mentioned, right now we only have Endless Game on the platform. I'm sure we can expect more. And I've been in chats with someone from the OnBlock team. So if you're a fan of Inside IOST, if you're an insider, as we like to say, we should have some pretty cool exclusive content coming out for you guys within the next couple of weeks whenever we can get things scheduled with them, our good friends over in the East out of Singapore. So, and another note I just wanted to bring up about OnBlock before we move on. They do actually have SMS activation for when you deposit. So whenever you make a deposit into your account, you actually receive a text message to your mobile phone number, which is cool. It's not something I've seen before.
Yeah, people are used to doing that.
Right. The whole sign-up process feels very familiar to people who are used to using the centralized applications.
Using their phone, putting their phone number in there, getting a code. It's all stuff they've done before on other websites, so I think it'll help bring in new users.
All right, wanted to move on to the next piece of news here. IOST Land, which is a partnership between both IOST and NeoWorld. This is basically like a cool 3D world. It's built on Unity, which is kind of like a game 3-dimensional engine for building stuff. Anybody that uses Minecraft or something like that, very similar. And I've seen this happen before with Ethereum. I do believe that's what although it's called NeoWorld, so maybe it was Neo. I could be wrong. If you know, leave us a comment on YouTube. That would be awesome if they launch this on Neo or Ethereum or maybe both. But I'm looking forward to see this. One of the cool notes from the article is that they had they had a beta testing period. And during the peak of that, they had daily active users of 23,000 with a 30-day retention rate of 73%. So that's pretty massive.
That's big. I'm always surprised how big these games are. Like, I think of DCentral and how big that got. I mean, it's huge. There's a lot of people who want to be in this space. Minecraft. I mean, think how many kids are playing Minecraft. It's
Minecraft
massive,
is huge.
And so, I mean, there could be a big play for these applications.
So Decentraland, then, maybe that's what I'm getting NeoWorld and Decentraland confused. Was Decentraland based on Ethereum?
I'm not sure. I know you can claim like your own little piece of property in Decentraland. That's all I know about it. I'm not really involved in it.
Yeah,
it kind of looks similar to that.
I think that was the Ethereum-based one. NeoWorld, again, we'll have to do some more research on it, find out if it was based on Neo, judging by the name. But that could just be a matter of coincidence. But again, the retention rates for this are impressive. I'm excited to see when this is going to come out. When are we actually going to see some land on IOST? Apparently, you can build buildings, you can invest in businesses, you can create businesses. Maybe we'll create like a hot dog shop or something.
Yeah, build an office.
Yeah, we could build office. We could build the inside IOST office in NeoWorld, and then you guys can come and enjoy the show with us in virtual space.
Hang out and drink lattes,
right?
And have our own little workspace, open workspace.
We'll be able to get IOST Callister to create us a digital IOST mug to drink our IOST lattes out of.
I like it.
Always a huge shout out to IOST Callister for hooking us up with some swag. So, wanted to move along to a pressing issue, which is the BISS Rewards. Now, we had quarterly rewards come out. We saw them. What was the date for that? Was it like April 23rd, I want to say? It was somewhere near the end of April.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And most people, I can't say most people, but everyone on Token Pocket who had votes staked on Token Pocket, as far as I know, received their quarterly reward. If you voted for a tier 1 like us, like Leobi, like Inside IOST, you should have received a nice amount for the amount you had staked. But people on BISS still haven't received their quarterly rewards.
And that's a lot of people, too. I mean, I voted through BISS, and I go there every day to check, and I still don't see my voter rewards. What's going on with that? I keep going out there to look for it, and not there. I heard it was supposed to be today. Today's May 1st.
Yeah, today's May 1st. There was supposed to be... So I saw this in one of the group chats. I don't remember exactly who said it, but somebody said that they were working on getting all of the rewards distributed by May 1st. We had a comment on our last show, actually, from John Richards. I know John has been patiently waiting on BISS. I tried to let him know that it was going to be by May 1st, but I guess that was kind of just speculation, although it's still May 1st today, so we might see it by the end of today. But as far as BISS goes, we're still waiting on seeing these rewards come through.
12 hours, BISS. 12 and a half.
Yeah, seriously. And by the time this comes out, it could be like 4 hours.
Why isn't this all automated? Like, shouldn't this all be part of the code where it just gets automatically distributed?
Yeah, and I guess with the BISS accounts, it's hard to know. It's kind of like when you send something to a Binance account, they kind of batch it together, and then they have to use the memo to distribute it. But again, if you watch the price action, ever since we've been getting close to kind of that rewards distribution, we had a sort of a sell-off. And it's been trading sideways a little bit, up and down. I think this is really the market just waiting to see what's going to happen because the majority of the rewards, or at least a large portion of the rewards, still haven't been paid out to people.
I'm not worried about it, though, at this point. There's a theory in trading that the price reflects all known things in the future. so everybody knows that these rewards are about to hit and that people will have the opportunity to sell them. I think the price already reflects that.
Yeah, you think it's already baked in?
I do.
As traders like to say.
I do.
I don't give out investment advice. I don't think we do that on this show. But if you're going to be, someone who is going to go against the grain and be sort of a contrarian investor, maybe it's a good time to buy. But again, never investment advice.
No investment advice.
No investment advice on Inside IOST. So looking for those BISS rewards. Hopefully we end up with it this week. As soon as we know, if we know anything, you're an insider. You know just as much as us from watching the show. So we'll let you know there. So going to move along. This is a little bit of a change up from the IOST Foundation, which is the threshold to become a serving node.
Yeah, big change.
This is a big change. The former threshold was about 2.1 million votes. That has actually been increased now to 8 million votes, which we did the math on this. We used a calculator. It's about $89,000.
90 grand to become a serving node in votes.
$89,000 worth of IOST needs to be voted for you to become a serving node. So if you're one of those nodes that's under that 8 million vote threshold, which there are a lot right now, the good thing is if you're already a serving node, if you're already spun up and you're already working on the old threshold, which was, I believe, 2.1 million.
2.1, yep.
You will be grandfathered in, but this is moving forward for any of the new serving nodes. So what else do we know about this, Josh?
Well, we know they raised that number. I mean, they've been talking about a couple of changes, potentially reducing the number to become a partner node, although that's already that's still at 2.1 from the article that was put out. But the raise to 8 million was a little higher than I expected. I mean, that's quite a few votes now to become a serving node. I mean, I could speculate on some of the reasons why. It could be trying to maintain a smaller number so that it's high transaction throughput, and you got to make sure that everybody's up and running, and you don't want to deal with a lot of people who don't have it put together. I mean, in the article, they even say that patches, if they put patches out, your node has to be patched within 48 hours, or they're going to boot you, and you got to go to the end of the line in order to get re-onboarded back in. So if you're a serving node, make sure you're paying attention to those patches that come out through Slack. We set up a notification so that we get notified every time a patch comes out. But obviously, anytime you have a system or a network that requires high transaction throughput, all the nodes have to be on it, right? And you can't afford systems that aren't patched or systems that don't have it together. So I think the foundation, that's sort of at the core of the reason why the foundation has done this, but it still seems like a very high number to get started with a serving node. Yeah,
that's for sure. I mean, you basically quadruple the amount that you needed initially. I think part of the reason, too, might be the profitability of a node. At 2.1 million votes, the amount of times you would get into the council to actually produce a block wasn't quite yielding the amount that you would be profitable from.
Yeah, there's been some chatter on that in the channels as to sort of what that number is at which you'll be profitable. And 2.1 definitely was not it. It had to be higher than 2.1.
Right. And in the article here, it says it's an estimated 500 USD per month. That's with Amazon Web Service, which, by the way, we do not use Amazon Web Service at Leobi/Inside IOST. What is our setup technically? Do you know?
We use DigitalOcean.
We use DigitalOcean, and there's actually a good reason for that. Most people probably, I would say, are using AWS. And so we wanted to take the decentralization, per se, a step further and actually use a different provider for that. And, AWS, I think they control something like 98% of all web traffic. So for us to go with kind of the alternative, we just felt it was something, different and kind of a way to add a new sort of alternative into the fold there. All right, so this week was a bit of a shorter episode for you guys. We've been working hard on quite a few things internally here with Leobi/Inside IOST. Josh, you want to give the insiders a little bit of a teaser?
Yeah, make sure you tune in next week for our show. We have some big announcements coming out, some new features that we'll be offering, and make sure you tune in. Big news coming up.
Big news coming out. You heard the man, Josh. He couldn't have said it in a way that would have provoked any more excitement out of the insiders. I'm just joshing you, Josh. So, again, we appreciate all the views. We appreciate all the votes, definitely. PK, not with us this week. He's back holding down the fort out in eastern PA. And I guess if we don't have anything else, that's it for us.
Yep, it's going to be a shorter show today. Make sure you tune in for the next one for our big news.
All right, folks. For Josh Bryant, for Peter K., wherever he is, I'm Evan Schindler. This is Inside IOST, and we will see you next week.